And then I finish it back in the middle. All right. All right, so prereqs for this. Now, I'm not using my phone, so I don't know how well the speaker on this thing works. If the speaker works, or if you just see me waving at the camera. I'm going to learn sign language. So this is going to be kick and sign language, just kick. And then this will be jump. So we're going to do a jump, kick, spin. Feel me? All right, just made up my own language. So starting with tornado kick. You need to be able to throw this. So I'll give you a couple tips for this, but I'm not going to spend too much time on tornado kick because I got variations that I want to play with. So this is tornado kick. If you don't already know, do your tornado kick. Everybody knows what I look like. It's always more impressive when the munchkins do it. I do a back flip. The kids are like, eh. But a kid will do a front kick. And everybody's like, yo, look at that front kick though. Nobody cares about the old people. All right, unless you get to like the super old. If you see like a 60-year-old throw a back flip, I'll fall out my chair. Anyway, we're going to start off with the step setup and how I do my step setup. So this is how I teach tornado kick. But this will only work when you're learning how to do tornado kick. So I teach tornado kick here. This is my right leg. That's my left. I got to be specific about this because when I rewatched my video, everything was flipped. So like my right looked like my left and backwards. So this is my right leg. I'm going towards my left. All right. Kicking with my right leg. Right leg on step. So I'm facing back to the target. Look over my shoulder. Pick up my left knee. Jump and round kick. Right. But that's how I teach the move to like an orange belt or yellow belt. But when you're actually doing the move, it's more like I spin as hard as I can and my step lands wherever. So instead of my step landing right here, my step's going to land wherever my body's facing. So I'm just trying to do a 360. I'm trying to do this. And wherever my foot hits the ground, that's where my step goes. So that would be here. So my chest is more or less all the way this direction, if not further, when my foot touches the ground. But most importantly, I can already see my target. So that means I can jump immediately. I can kick immediately. So there's no wait for the jump. There's no wait for the kick. I know where I am because I spotted before I ever jumped. And because I can kick so early, you can stick your kick and you spend more time kicking and less time spinning. If I jump early, typically your kick's not going to be as big because you're going to be on the way down when you kick. But if I don't jump until I'm already facing here, I'm kicking on the way up, which gives me a lot more time to hold my foot there and make it look bigger than it actually is, right? So get tornado kick. One more time. Step and turn, knee up, jump kick. The higher you jump, the more power you have in that kick, the better it's going to look. But that's not what today's about. Today's about 540, so hopefully you already have tornado kick, and if you don't, have fun falling on your face trying to do this. We're going to go over the basic skill drills. There are 4 drills that I teach for 540. Drill 1. Do you know all these drills? Have you done these before? All right. You may have done them, but you just don't remember them. All right, so drill 1. You'll hold up one foot. So this is my left. I kick with my right, so that's the leg that's jumping. Now you're going to imagine this leg disappeared. You're going to jump, tuck, and land all on the same foot. This foot can't do anything. Don't move it. It's gone. Just right leg only. Yeah. All right, so that's a real basic drill. He's going to demonstrate them for you, though. Do that 5 times. Let's see how well you do. Whatever correction I make to him, make the same correction to you. Try to get your right knee over your left knee. See how your left knee's here? You want your right knee here. Right. There you go. If you get really high, you hit yourself in the shoulder. All right, just 5. We're just trying to see. Now, this is my tester. If you can get your right leg over your left, even if your left leg is this low, you can potentially move that leg fast enough to land the 540 and jump high enough, assuming you're landing one leg, right? So that is your first strength test. If you can't do that, keep doing it until you're strong enough to do it. And the drill itself will prepare you for the move, right? You don't have to do a separate set of exercises. You can, but that exercise by itself is going to make you strong enough to do it. Second one, we're gonna learn how to twist. So what I always tell my kids, how the old folks dance in the club. And when I say club, I'm talking about like the golf club, because that's the only place that old folks go. You ain't gonna see them in the actual club unless they working behind the bar and they're a lifer there. But outside of that, those guys are most of the time, at the chess club, the chess club in New York. It's not even a club in New York. They sit outside. They're just like, checkmate. But the effort it took to say that causes their heart rate to rise. Anyway, so we're going to go with just the hip twist that the old folk do from the same position. You're going to start here. This one's actually a little bit awkward, but if you can do this, you can more or less put the coordination part together. So you want to act like this foot is being held onto. Don't move it. And you want this foot to go up and over the foot that is being held onto. So the left leg, pick it up, keep it there, and just go over. All right, so you got to twist your hips. Now, using y'all as my target or the laptop, because this is yesterday, I'm looking at a mini-me, a little orange slice on the screen. I used my phone yesterday. Somehow this screen looks smaller. It's a laptop, but my phone screen is bigger than the laptop screen. It's crazy. Right, so anyway, my hips are going to turn, and I'm going to try to look here. So that's going to enforce that I'm rotating with the lower half, not the upper half at this point of the move. Pop. All right, so I'm looking over my shoulder, my hip turn. Then I can rotate. You do that a bunch of times. Do it, let's say 3 times. Do that 3 times. Good. 2 more. Do it again. You got to get those where you don't put your foot down. You almost did it a second ago. Beat. Only got 3. All right. Y'all don't need to do that. That's just for entertainment. All right, next, we're going to do the momentum part. So this is the motion for the kick itself. And all 4 of these drills, you can add the kick to create the 540. All I'm going to do is I'm going to take my left leg, put it in front. So I'm starting to turn my back to you guys and show you my good side. Now from right here, I get to turn my shoulders at the beginning. So this is where the momentum part comes from. I start with the shoulders, and now from here, it's what I just practiced. The hips have to take over. When you add the shoulders, you can't let the shoulders take over. This part has to stay the same. You can't change what you did. I'm just giving a little bit of a head start to my hips turning. So I'm still going to try to look this way. It'll look here. Look, turn. How? Do it. Let me see how yours looks. Start with your foot on ground. Now pick it up, jump on one. Whoop. Just like that. My man's got it down. Do that about, let's say, 10,000 times. That would make you a master at it. That's my rough estimates. I found out that most of the numbers that I come up with are like, I don't remember who said it. I heard it the other day, and I was like, oh. Somebody said, you got to do something 10,000 times to master it. Ninja assassin running through. Baby assassin. No, she got a mask on. That's perfect, because she is a terrorist. She got a bomb strapped on. Anyway, that's too political. All right, so now we're going to do the setup, which is the first thing we did. That's cheat setup, tornado kick. And then add the rest of the steps. My setup, I'm going to turn as hard as I can with this step. Then, from here, do the rest. Just chamber and kick over. So if you do this correctly, you should feel fairly relaxed through it. If you feel tight, a whole host of problems. I can't see you, so just try to stay upright. That's the easiest way I can explain it. Don't lean over or do anything weird like that. Stay upright. All right, and just try to relax as much as you possibly can until we throw the kick. Let me see yours. No kick. Just do what I just did. See, he's standing right next to me. He still don't listen. Y'all see what I deal with every week? I hit you with this side. It's protected now. I can throw rich hands on you, son. This thing is hard. That's the only reason I put it on. I'm not actually trying to follow doctor's orders. I'm just trying to be a little bit more lethal when I slap people. It works, especially in like the lines at Walmart. Put that toilet paper back. All right, so we're going to go. All the steps can be added with a kick. Mini kick, the first step, is the only one that I'm going to show you. But you can do this with all the steps, especially the last one, because the last step would be doing a 540. So if I did step 1 again, which is this one, I did a kick and I'm facing sideways so y'all can see my foot's gonna go forward. I'm gonna throw what I call a mini front kick. And I imagine I'm kicking about shin height, or I'm kicking my daughter in the forehead. It's about this tall, just a little baby kick. And this is not exactly what the kick motion is gonna feel like because of the rotation. We're gonna get to that in a second. But it is still my test of being able to jump and deliver something that goes forward, because I'm going to give you two things that are a must with this move as we move on to the full move. One of them is a must not. The other one is a must do. And because myself and my young apprentice here, Darth Peter, have not actually worked on this move specifically together, I'm actually kind of hoping he makes some of these mistakes so that y'all can see how I go by fixing them. Now, if he doesn't make the mistakes, I'll explain them the best I can. But the first one is called the 540 killer. That's what I call it, right? This is my left leg. If my left leg ends up behind me at the beginning of the kick, you've killed your 540, which is what most folk do when they're focusing on landing and they're just trying to get their foot back down to the ground. That means you're not kicking, so there's no 540 kick there. And that also means the thing that you're trying to do, you made it impossible. So the thing I'm trying to do is try to kick over my left leg. But if you pull your left leg away, there ain't nothing to kick over, right? I can't jump over something that's not there. So I have to have my leg here to jump over it. So if I go all my setup and I pull this leg behind me, that's your 540 killer, because your left leg's not there to jump over. The second thing is more about the landing, and you have to kick. Means two parts. One, don't stick your foot out and just hope, right? That's you trying to finish the rotation with your shoulders. You have to have that hip turn, right? And the second part is that if I kick forward instead of toward the way that I want to land, it's going to make it a lot more difficult. So my kick that I prefer is a round kick. You can crescent kick. I use both, by the way. It just depends on what I'm doing. But the main thing that I want is my kick to travel to the floor. So if you think about your kick going at the floor instead of at the ceiling, you're going to have much better results. My kick hitting here is an illusion because my kick is traveling to the floor from the very beginning of the kick. And it's kind of like any kind of follow through, like a board break. If you imagine the board is right here, you don't stop at the board, you finish on the other side, and the board just got in the way. And that's kind of what's happening here. The ceiling gets in the way. My kick is going to the ground, and it just happened to pass the ceiling. But if I go straight up, you'll get stuck, right? So try to demonstrate this as best I can. Can't really do it slow because I don't jump high enough, but you should more or less see that my left leg stays between me and you. My kick goes all the way past until I hit the floor. Now, if I could jump higher, I could throw that a lot slower and break it down. But let's see how my man does. Give me your best 540. Hey, there's a little one. All right, now the only thing that he really needs to change on that is he needs to wait the kick out a little bit more. And it's not even waiting the kick out. It's allowing yourself to jump first. And this is the terminology that was used with me with a lot of the other flips I use. Not necessarily 540, but like back tuck and front tuck and, the basic flips. Where they're like, all right, you got to jump first and flip second. Well, for front tuck, things like that, it's not exactly accurate. It's more of just make sure you jump. You don't want to flip before you jump. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to turn and kick before you come off the ground. So you're here and you're already thinking about going over there. If you think about going up and then kicking, you'll have more time to kick. Try it again. Yeah, that was already better. Y'all see what I'm talking about? Proof in the pudding right off the bat. Whew, I'm the best. He's the best. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled 540s. All right. We're going to do, let's say, how many you want to do? 10 of them? All right. He's going to do 10. I'm going to do 1 because we're going to do some variations. So I got some time left. I'm going to keep playing with y'all. So anybody's got 540, y'all can stick around. After this commercial, we're going to be right back. No, I'm just playing. We ain't got commercials on here. It's Facebook, not YouTube. All right, so I'm going to hit one more. Down 540. All right, hit your 540. Let's see. Up. There's more. Don't let your left leg go behind. Control. try to take off your hands so that your step supports your spin. Step, spin. Whoa, you look like you did the splits on slides. Left leg in front. Relax the left leg, all about the right leg. Okay, there you go. Left leg stay tucked. That looks better. There's 3. Let's see if he looks better by 10. Yeah, he looks better at 4. Now this is gonna be hard, but trust me, it'll help. Look that way. Whole time. Look. This is gonna be harder, but it's gonna make it look better. Again. Jump, son. Don't take out the jump. Eyes forward, jump like you been. Soup. Hey, that's getting a little cleaner. I don't know how many was that. 7?
6.
6? All right, 4 more. That one don't count. It's a tornado. Hey, you gotta control that left leg though. That's what making your landing so awkward too. When you land, your left leg keeps moving. You're gonna be able to land, put your foot down. But because it's so far up, it's really hard for you to stop. That's good. Keep it tight. Jump first. Don't step that far either. Check this. Everybody, I don't know if y'all can see the lines on the floor. I'm gonna use this piece of tape. I'm gonna step to the piece of tape so y'all can see just how far I actually travel in the air. So most of the traveling happens on the ground, but I travel, that's about 1 stance length from where I started. Like half a stance length, because a full stance would be out here, but starting, my step landed about right here, and I traveled to about right there. So that's how much distance I travel. And I can travel less if I'm trying to, which is normally only like if you're at the edge of the ring and you're trying to stay in. You can cut that even shorter, but just your normal 540, you don't want to go from like here to over here. It's gonna make it really hard to control that thing. You want to take it up and then spin in place. Okay, let's get 2 more. Up. Go it. Commit. I need you to put a ring on it. Hey, that was a little better. That was the commitment part. And your leg was right. All right, so this mistake, that's a different mistake. That come from, this is why I told him to look at the target, look at y'all. Because that prevents the mistake he just did. Most of the time, it happened to me too. When you first start learning 540, we end up staring hard at the floor because you're trying to spot your landing. This is not one of the techniques that you want to do that on. I spot my landing for side swipe really is it. That's the only 540 setup or 540 variation that I'm going to spot the ground for. Everything else, I'm going to look this way. And that's going to help me posture up as much as I can. And that way when I lean, which I do lean when I kick, but it's not going to be so severe that I can't stand up when I land. But if I get my head too far back and especially if your left leg is on its way up, even though it might look like you got equal weight, the momentum of your head going down and your left leg coming up is going to make you want to do like a cartwheel motion. You're going to put your hands down every time just because you got that tip. So eyes forward, and that will help promote this position where when I land, my hands are too far from the ground for me to even want to put them down, right? So he's going to keep doing 540. I'm going to go over some variation. We're going to start off with cheat 720, but not just a normal cheat 720. So we're going to do the way that I do a cheat 720. So the way I teach cheat 720 is the easiest way. That's where you just knee up, spin, and stick your leg out. But that's not how I do it. I don't really do it that often, to be honest. But you can throw this kick with either a crescent, axe, or hook. I don't throw the hook kick simply because it's awkward for my hip. For whatever reason, every time I focus on that flat position, it hurts. So I do more of an axe kick. And that's probably another reason why I don't throw this kick very often, because it looks better with a hook kick. So if you can throw this same technique with a hook kick, it's going to look a lot better. So, you want to push towards that. But the main thing I'm going to do with this 540, or with the setup, is do a 540 without the kick, and then throw the G7 kick after. So essentially it becomes a jackknife type motion without the first kick. And this will also help when we add, the first kick in. To learn jackknife, you'll have this rhythm, because to me, jackknife is more of a rhythm than anything else. So I'm going to start off with this drill. So, I'm going to throw the kick. That's my chamber. I'm going to throw the kick out of there. Now, how high the kick comes will all be dictated by how high I lift my left knee. So if I lift my left knee really high at the beginning, it'll come out really high at the end. So notice the higher you lift your knee, the more tendency you're going to have to lean. And so that's also important that your right leg does the 540 chamber, comes up like this. Because if you keep your leg straight and then you lean, you land with your foot in front of it. So I need to have the ability to place this foot where I want, and you can only do that if it's chambered. All right, so we're going to go 540 setup, hop over, and hook kick, or axe, which is what you'll see me do when I go full speed. So variation of the 540, number one. That was kind of slow. I slowed that one down a lot more than the 540. All right, give me your best 540. You're still on 540. You want that thing? Keep going. We're going to combo it. I like it. Knee slide, stand up. Jump, bro. Stop kicking your left leg, too. That left leg was never an issue for me. So the things that I have trouble with, I can explain a lot better because I know what it's like. See, that was good. I know what it's like to overcome some of those. But the left leg, I don't have any tricks for you because I learned 540 on accident. Nobody showed it to me. Nobody taught it to me. I thought I made it up until I went to the first tournament to show all my friends this new move I invented. And they were like, oh, yeah, it's 540. Casey does that. And I was like, what? I thought I made it up. But I did a lot of the leaning mistakes and stuff at the beginning. The right leg has to do everything. If your left leg starts pulling for 540 at all, for any cheat motion, really. If you heard somebody tell you to take off for cheat 9 like this, which I've heard some of my friends do that. If you're okay with your cheat 9 looking like crap, go ahead. But otherwise, if you want it to look good, you need that knee as tight as you can. So every time I take off for cheat 9 in any of my videos and I see it come out here, those are normally the cheat 9s that I don't like because it doesn't look like I spin. It just looks like a really big tornado. And the main thing I want is to make the move look as cool as possible. I don't want to land it. Landing it is not the biggest issue. Does it look good when you land it? That's far more important than landing it. And anything out of cheat setup is already cheated a little bit. So if you cheat a move that is already cheated, in my opinion, is not the move anymore, right? Like if I'm going cheat 9, this first 360 being on the ground is cheated the move. Has cheated the move. I did 360 on the ground, and now I'm going to do 1.5 rotations in the air, and half of that rotation happens after the kick, right? So essentially, I only need to do a 360 in the air. So if I go to here and I haven't jumped yet, you've now cut another 90 degrees out, and you're doing 50% of that move in the air now instead of 75% of it. So you're cheating a move that's already cheated. Just think logically about it, please. Or at the very least, if you get it and you want to do it like that to learn it, then eventually you want to still make it look better, and you're going to try to suck that knee in more and more until you're taking off like this, and then you have those pro trigger kicks where it just looks like you're bam, Mad Emick in here. That's my 2 of the best cheat 9s on the planet. Mad Emick, Rory Bratter. Rory, if you're watching it, props, brownie points. I get paid $5 every time I mention his name. So anyway, all right. We're going to go we just did cheat 7. Let's go side swipe. You got 540. You got cheat 720. You're probably throwing the combination that everybody and their mother's throwing at the beginning. Everybody's first kick combination, at least in my opinion, should probably be cheat 720 into 540. If you can throw both of those and you haven't tried that combination, do it. Doesn't really work on the opposite directions. You want to go cheat 720, step 540, and just practice getting good at linking those two motions together. It's gonna help for later on combos, right? Now side swipe though, you got 540. You still need to work on 540. You ain't doing this. But the prerequisite to this, I can say, is raise. But I actually learned how to do side swipe before I learned raise, which might be why I make so many mistakes in my raise. But I'll give you just a couple bullet points. So the first thing I'm going to do different is I'm not going to spot here. This is the one cheat setup that I stare at the floor. And not one cheat setup, the one 540 variation that I stare at the floor. And if you don't know a side swipe, you just take your 540 and you flatten it out, or you go upside down as much as you can. So my goal is actually to go upside down. But half the time it's just flat. It's not really upside down. Even when it looks upside down, if you play it in slow motion, I'm not upside down. I'm just really flat, right? So I'm going to step a lot straighter for this one with a little less shoulder spin. So normally my setup for 540 goes like this, and I'm going to go a little bit more over the top to influence the direction that I want to go. That's what I do with my arms. My left leg, instead of it coming up in front of me, is going to start a little more on the side. So instead of my leg coming up, or my shoulders coming around, and then my leg coming up from this side, what's going to happen is the opposite. My leg's going to come up, and then my shoulders are going to catch up. Now, it happens like 1-2, but as long as I'm thinking this, don't make your body wait. So if your body gets to here all at the same time, that's fine. Do that, right? It's still gonna look the same. But in my head, that's what I'm thinking of, and that helps influence this leg come up right here instead of over here. And that's what makes this move harder than 540. Is 540 is gonna come up and down in this one little area, and side swipe is gonna start over here and take up a lot more space. But I still want to chamber it because ultimately the kick is what's gonna make me land, and then I spot my target. So I'm gonna look down. Try to stand as tall as I possibly can for this move, because you, just like front tuck, you drawing your head down gets rid of a lot of your height. So the higher I can start, the easier this is going to be. Lift my left leg where I feel like I'm picking my left leg up to my head level instead of dropping my head to my hip. I want to lift my hips up to my head as much as possible. There needs to be a little bit of both. All right, so your head's going to go down a little bit. Don't get it twisted, but you don't want to be just head. You want those hips to come up to influence that circle kick motion here. And then I'm going to snap my head and look down at the sky. It sounds weird, but the sky is, normally if you turn your head up like this, you're looking at the sky. But I'm going to be upside down, so this will actually be looking down. All right, so, or look up at the floor. However you want to think of it. This is what your side swipe look like. All right, so my initial setup, the arms help influence the direction of the flip. So you notice it also travels further than a normal 540. And although it is just a 540 variation, it doesn't really feel the same as a 540. So you do want that feeling like you're starting backwards. Like I'm starting a backflip is really what it's going to feel like. Do one more. Try to make this one a little bit cleaner. And none of them feel good right now. I'm not on a good day. And they don't normally get good until like 4 or 5. That's when my body's warmed up through a couple hours of classes. And then I have like a 30-minute window where everything's clean. And then after that 30-minute, everything dies again. It's normally when my white, orange, yellow belts start. So all my white, orange, yellow belts think I suck. Like, I've never seen him do anything that he doesn't limp afterwards. Front kick. Oh, my God. Mr. Joe Kazi. Everybody, we have special guests in the room. Give him a hand. I wish I had a soundtrack where I could press it and then you hear the applause like in the DJ booth. All right, let's play with a couple more. That side swipe. I'm going to give you guys 2 more, and then I'm going to do my own thing. Feel me? So let's go jackknife. Jackknife. We might just end with jackknife because we'll do jackknife and parafuso. Yeah, we'll do both of those. We'll do jackknife first. So jackknife is a 1-2. This is how I teach jackknife. You need to have a clean 540. And the main thing that you want for the 540 is you want to be able to see the target when you hit the floor. So what I mean is not here, but I want to be able to go bip, find it again, and then land. If you can do that, then jackknife is going to be a cinch. and you can focus more on the technique than you do the the height. Like I really don't want to be thinking about jumping as high as I can or doing. I want to be able to think about my timing. For me, that's what I think about. So I think about rhythm. So I'm gonna have you actually do this kick. We go 1, 2, and what's gonna be is a mini round kick at the ankle, and I want it to stop and then skip it. Don't pull it. Don't pull it. Don't go like this. Don't go round kicking in. Leave it there. Leave it there. And throw the kick. So you gotta jump soon. So or kick later. It's more like that. So I'm gonna wait for my kick. This is what I do with this move. You're gonna turn your chest all the way to here, and you ain't kicked yet. Then from right here, that's where you throw the kick. 1, 2. But that kick gotta go that way. You can't go anywhere else. You gotta think 1, 2 here. 1, 2. 1, 2. Yeah, close. Try one more time. Just swing it just a little more because you're kind of using the first kick to gain momentum. Now the biggest kick you're gonna focus on is that hook kick. So I'm gonna give you guys 2 of them. The second one is the way I normally throw it. But dude, ever since I came back from my left knee surgery, my first left knee surgery, I should say, I haven't had the jackknives I used to have. And I attribute a lot of that to because it was my left knee and I practiced hook kicks so much with just my left leg. I wasn't able to practice hook kick and just my hook kick got worse, right? So it's really based on the stronger basics you have, the better it's going to be. But the first one is relatively simple if you can do the first part where you can 540 high enough. All right, so I'm going to throw this kick. I'm going to throw a mini front kick and a mini axe. Well, not a mini axe. I'm going to throw my normal 720 axe. But I'm going to throw a front kick about knee high. And then spin and throw this kick after. From your 540 setup. So the 540 itself will look like a little flick. Looks like this. It's just a little baby. But I need that foot to get to the ground. That's one of the keys to hitting jackknife or hyper hooks of any nature. Is getting that landing foot to the ground as quick as possible. The longer it takes that foot to hit the floor, the less chance you're going to have of actually landing the trick. So mini front kick where you don't really put a whole lot of emphasis on the kick. It's there. Don't forget to actually have it there. But it's not big enough that it's going to slow my momentum down, right? Because I still want that 1, 2. And then as soon as I hit this pull and the kick that comes after is 1, right? So you don't want to go spin and then kick because you're going to kick after you land. You want that foot to be fully extended when your kicking leg hits the floor, more or less at the same time, to make it look like a jackknife and not what I call the 540 hook, which 540 hook is when you land 540 and then you throw a hook kick. So it's 2 separate moves, where the jackknife is 1 move, right? So it'll look like without the stumble afterwards. All right, so that's the easy version. Hold on, shut up. Don't talk about me. I know what you're saying. I'm in your head. You in my house right now. To come up in my grill and tell me how I'm. Okay, so you know that was beautiful. We're going mini front kick with the crescent kick. Take 2. Ignore the first one. Ignore the second one. First one was better. Dude, it's not how I throw it though. So I'm gonna show you how I throw it. And how I throw it is a little bit harder. So as I said before, I haven't gotten it back to the way that I like it to look. So half the times I don't even stay on my feet because for me, my joints, it's not worth saving. I could save it if I wanted to, but it's just easier to roll. It doesn't hurt as much. But anyway, what I'm doing for the second style is 2 things different. And the biggest thing different is going to be the 540 kick itself. I'm going to throw a round kick, which to me feels a lot easier on my joints to throw because it's going the same direction as my landing, so I don't feel like I'm trying to redirect a front kick. Also, it's going to put me on axis to throw a hook kick. So this means I got to jump a little bit higher, and I have to jump later, right? So I'm normally jumping somewhere around here as I start to turn towards the target. And for the jackknife, in my head, I'm all the way over here when I come off the ground. Now I'm not. I'm probably more like square, but this is what I want to think of. I want to think of getting this shoulder to the target. And the sooner I can get this shoulder here, the more this is going to come like a round kick. It's still not going to go very high. All right, so I'm not going to try to shoot this thing over my head. That's a swipe knife, which is a different move, right? We're not going to do that one today. I want this thing to come pretty much, my own shoulder height, even though I might be leaning so it looks higher, but it's not. And then have roughly the same timing as that one. Feel me? So you're getting there. Now all you gotta do is add that to 540. 540 gotta be a little bit higher before you can get jackknife. But once you start lifting that jump up, that's gonna turn into a jackknife. Real easy. That looks like an egg beater. Anybody see those? It's not the ones that got the 4 thing that come in a ball. The ones that's just like a prong out like this. Like they start cake batting. That's what your leg looks like. If I put you over a bowl of cake mix, you can make my key lime pie for me. Just you gotta wash your feet first, though. We're not making wine. So anyway, we're gonna go lay down here and turn my shoulders as hard as I can. The other difference is I lift this knee up much higher, and that's because I'm focused on the hook kick. Now I did have somebody on one of my first videos when I did this tutorial that was like, you really don't want to lift up your leg that much higher because it makes it harder. And honestly, if that's what you think, just sit down and don't do it at all. If you keep trying to make tricks easy, sit down. That's not why we do tricks. Why would you try to make something that's inherently hard? I do it because it's hard. Easy. No, I'm more interested in what it looks like, not in how easy it is. So I would rather fall trying to make it look the way I want it to look than land the jackknives that I just did. Like those 2 that I just did, I'm not going to throw that in a competition. Even though I landed, kind of. It was easy, but they don't look good to me, right? I mean, they might look good to you, and if they do, fine, do it. But this one's going to look better, promise, if you get it right. So we'll see if I get it right. You see my left leg comes up higher, which does make it so you have to jump higher. But I already told you should probably be jumping up here anyway to throw this move. So I'm assuming you already have the height to do it. Now we're just going to focus on that 1, 2. All right, let's see if we can land this clean on try number 1. Oh, I also like to throw this out of a hook kick. I don't really do it. Screw it. Because I don't know if I'll go out of frame with the combo. We'll just throw it out of normal setup. But I normally like to use a hook kick, spin hook kick to set it up.
Was it a hook kick after?
Yeah, that's what makes it a jackknife. But so obviously I'm not satisfied with what they look like right now. But as I told you at the beginning, I'm still training them. Right? I'm gonna do one at a hook kick. You see, I'm gonna back up. Attempt to make it look better. But as I told you guys, I'm still working on this kick. Right? Since I had my surgery, it's never been the same. It doesn't feel the same. I lost everything. All right, and we're going to use Peter's head as a target. Peter, you need to be like this, tall up. There you go. All right, it'll be something like mediocre. It wasn't as high as the first one, but flattened up the hook kick a little better. Anyway, I told you guys I was going to do one more, huh? All right, last one. Then I got to get my own grind on. Parafuso. Parafuso is easy. If you can do a 540, you can do this. It just takes patience, right? Because it doesn't feel the same. It's awkward. So when I say it's easy, it's not. None of these are easy. It's all relative to the first move. So if you have 540, you have the skill to do this one. You don't really need to jump any higher to hit it. It just is a little bit awkward at first. I figured this move out on accident. Back in the day when it was called 540 double leg, who knows that term? Now everybody knows it as parafuso, which is one of the few times I was corrected that I actually agreed with, because it's a move from the capoeira, and that's what they call it. So since it came from there and it was already named parafuso, I 100% agree. We should go with whatever name it was. Anybody know when cork used to be called a G twist? Anybody ever heard that? Dating myself right now. Matter of fact, I bet 90% of y'all don't know the difference between a cork and a gainer full. Because nowadays they're all the same. People throw gainer full and like double cork. And I'm like, not really. And gainer full is actually harder. So you should take credit for that. Anyway, so we're going to go Parafuso and cheat setup. Lift up your left leg, but keep it straight, and now clap your feet together. Now this motion that I'm about to do right here is actually a lot more awkward than the actual move. So we're gonna go Parafuso is simply getting my feet to catch up. And the sooner your feet catch up, the better it looks. So if your feet are catching up at the very end of the move, that's okay at first, but just keep in mind the goal is to get your feet together by the time they come on top. Very similar to like how a round off would be, like difference between cartwheel and round off. Okay, so I'm gonna go step, straight leg, and I'm gonna start my kick from right here. That's gonna help me get my feet together sooner. You can turn a little bit further, but it normally means that you're gonna have like this shape. And so to get my feet to follow the same line, just pick up this leg a little bit sooner, a little bit earlier, so it comes from over here instead of over here. Similar to side squat, but not the same body position. All right, and then get your feet together. And now that I have that coordination, lift it. I wouldn't say lift it higher and higher. I say go straight to the top, because doing that motion in the middle is actually not going to work. It's not the same, because it means you like to go forward and back. I want the weight on my feet to help me. So I'm going to lift my feet up over here, and then gravity going to take them down on the other side. So the only thing I'm going to focus on is my left leg and getting this thing to come as straight as I can. And then my right leg will just catch up, and it should carry me over this way. Now, Parafuso itself, I don't really throw very much. I throw variations out of it. So para hook or para knife, whatever you want to call it. But Everengado, if you see me do this move, is typically what I'm doing. And Everengado is just the same difference between 540 and side swipe is the difference between your normal Parafuso and Everengado. So Everengado is just upside down. And in my opinion, it's much easier to land. It looks like. And just gravity seems to help a whole lot more for that one. Anyway, so we kind of went over tornado, but we went over 540, cheat 720, jackknife, or side swipe, and Parafuso. So 5 different 540 variations. So it doesn't really matter what level tricker you are currently. You can work on any of those. 540s are like for my style. Tornado and all of that stuff is level 1. So 540 would go along the lines of a level 2 trigger of a basic kick. Then side swipe would be a level 3. Jackknife would also be in that same category. And Parafuso can probably go into the level 2 as well with the 540. And Everengado would be level 3 with side swipe and jackknife. So I'd say Everengado, side swipe, and jackknife are all about the same difficulty level. And 540 and Parafuso and cheat 720. Cheat 720 is easier if you do it the other way. But the way that I showed you, those are all on the same difficulty level. So pick your difficulty and work on it. If you're still trying to get tornado, work tornado. Otherwise, me and my little man, we about to get down till my legs don't work, because that's how I train. And we will see y'all next Wednesday. I promise you guys we're going to do a tricking class on Wednesday. So I know today's not Wednesday, but I'm still going to do it on Wednesday. All right, so don't fret. We'll do this on Wednesday. Probably a workout on Monday. I don't know. We'll post when the workouts are going to be. All right, we still got some things to discuss, but we'll see y'all in the next episode. Deuces. Do a flip.